redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. As I went a walking that ribbon of highway,
kids like me that grew up with the work of Charlie McDonnell, Bertie Gilbert, Sammy Paul, TV shows like I Am Not Okay With This and The End of the Fucking World are like aspirational TV, aspirational cinema. Because they hew so close to the aesthetics that we can try and garner with DSLR cameras in our bedrooms. Just when we do it, it doesn't have the skill involved. I'm impressed that I Am Not Okay With This managed to be a piece of media that got me invested to such a degree that I could get to a stage with the main character where they would say in voiceover, "Worst day ever." And I loved it. LMAO. And it would be so easy to just be cringeworthy for that kind of show. For it to just be trying to too obviously tug on your little teenage heartstrings. The very self-conscious use of pop music that's foregrounded to the audience, where you think like, the music's on now. And even in subject matter, they're YA stories, which is my shit. Fucking YA fiction. In general, really enjoyed that. Really, really good. You know? Definitely genre work. This is stuff we've seen before in a ton of YA films, but it's elevated with that definitely Life is Strange influenced, I want to say, magical realism. Reminded me especially of Before the Storm, which features a sapphic teen with anger issues, whose anger issues manifest in supernatural powers that have kind of vague effects. Really, really like that. And it's definitely a through line. Lots of people didn't like Life is Strange Before the Storm. I really did. I thought it was great. Well, I didn't think it was great. I loved it. Let's talk Netflix about queerbaiting endings, because I hate them so much. These two girls are in love, and it's just not gonna happen, because people who have money and people who run productions are cowards. Umbrella Academy, no conclusion to the series whatsoever. Just to have rising tension, and like a show is never going to be queer enough for me. Guess I gotta watch more now. And the end of I'm Not Okay With This is guilty of that, and it's very disappointing, because I want to know the end of the story. Or if not the end of the story, then at least some conclusion to everything that we've invested time with over the last few hours. But I'm glad that, at least to some extent, shows like I Am Not Okay With This are starting to be more queer without necessarily the baiting. By the end, it's a bit much of a plot point, which I don't necessarily enjoy. And to counterpoint that, not a Netflix original, but something I think they share some production staff, The End of the Fucking World, had an end. It has a second season. I haven't seen it. I don't know what the second season will do, because it had a pretty tight start to end of its first season, which I never thought I'd be just praising a show for ending a season with any sense of closure. But that's a weird facet of the media landscape that we're in at the minute. I love them both. They both definitely have their trappings in different YA traditions across the UK versus the US. Definitely a kind of grounded awkwardness and bleakness to the end of the fucking world, which the kind of heightened magical realism of I'm not okay with this doesn't quite seem to hit. That there is, maybe it's a class thing, whatever it is, definitely a different transatlantic timbre between the two. And I just deleted a bunch of files off this SD card so that I could have room to wrap this up. I hope Rory didn't need them. I would recommend going to see I Am Not Okay With This in your very own bedroom or living room. I would also recommend The End of the Fucking World, especially if you're such a slut for YA, as I am. Would not recommend looking for Alaska, the TV adaptation, though. Hey, look, we're in it. Again, how about that self-reference? How about doing a review in the style of the show you're reviewing? It's not been overdone.
It was in the town of Shawnee. It was Saturday afternoon. His wife beside him in his wagon. As into town they rode. There a deputy sheriff approached him in a manner rather rude, using vulgar words of language, and his wife she overheard. Pretty boy grabbed a log chain and the deputy grabbed his gun, and in the fight that followed he laid that deputy down.
I'm not taking these off.